33% of elementary and secondary students in the United States experience testing anxiety. This is not okay. Ever since George W. Bush passed the No Child Left Behind Act in 2001, standardized testing has taken leaps and bounds to improve the system. By improve, I mean adding more and more tests and leaving more and more students behind. Let's take it back to the first written test in 1845, created and implemented by Horace Mann. The switch from oral to written was a historical landmark for testing. Unfortunately for us, this paved the way for the SAT, which began in 1920, and then the ACT, its competitor, in 1959. These two tests quickly became the most important number on students' college applications. One test, 4 to 5 hours, and that determines the rest of your future. How is that fair? So what are the specific flaws in the current testing system? Well, I can only tell you about a few because we would be here for days if I discussed every single one. Firstly, the tests don't encourage creativity in the classroom. They make teachers focus on the core classes, which are important, but children need an outlet for creativity. The simple A, B, C, D answer choices don't allow the test takers to insert their own answer choice to the question. This cartoon accurately compares the testing system with a simple analogy. The test administrators ask every student to take the same test to see if they are prepared for the next level. Well, in the cartoon, the man on the right is asking each animal to climb a tree. This is impossible for animals like a goldfish and an elephant because of their size. Similarly, standardized testing asks students to answer math questions above some students' knowledge, which would be very difficult for them. Along with limiting creativity, these tests limit diversity in learning.
Education under No Child Left Behind is based on not diversity, but conformity. What schools are encouraged to do is to find out what kids can do across a very narrow spectrum of achievement. One of the effects of No Child Left Behind has been to narrow the focus onto the so-called STEM disciplines. They're very important. I'm not here to argue against science and math. On the contrary, they're necessary, but they're not sufficient. A real education has to give equal weight to the arts, the humanities, to physical education. An awful lot of kids... Sorry, thank you.
Lastly, let's look at funding. Testing is an issue for the state governments, not federal. So progressive tests like the STAR test aren't the same from state to state, which means funding isn't the same either. Some states spend as much as $167 per student on standardized testing a year, and other states spend as little as $7 per student in a year. This doesn't mean that some tests are harder than others, or students aren't getting an incomplete standardized test. It just means some states have set aside more funding for tests. I think this should be standardized throughout all 50 states so no student has an unfair advantage or disadvantage. So what now? How do we move forward to better this testing system? One solution, at least at the lower grade levels, would be to test students using games. Educational online games can track progress, record right and wrong answers, and are engaging for students. It wouldn't feel like a Scantron test, but could score students on their performance. These games could also tell teachers how a certain student goes about solving a problem versus how another student gets to the solution of the same problem. At the high school level, it will be harder to find a perfect solution to testing, but to start, let's minimize the number of hours we spend testing instead of learning valuable material and life skills.